This is Appalling News. I'm Paul Chatto. With global conflicts raging, two candidates for the American presidency having a hard time completing sentences, the big news is an Australian Olympic breakdancer who scored 0 points in her event. Notwithstanding the questionable inclusion of breakdance as an Olympic sport, though our Canadian Phil Wizard did win the men's gold, Go Phil, an Australian spokesperson, said they sent the best female breakdancer Australia had. She beat out a quadriplegic in a wheelchair and a sardine sandwich. Her sad performance reminded us of British ski jumper Eddie the Eagle, who captivated the 1988 Winter Olympics by being so dreadful we feared for his safety with every jump. He came in last, of course, but the crowds would cheer encouragement to Eddie for his plucky determination to press on. In many ways, he became the symbol of the spirit of those Olympic Games. Unfortunately, the same could not be said for Rachel Gunn, whose B handle is Ray Gunn. She was just plain awful, and perhaps she did represent this year's Olympics with its questionable opening ceremony, the Sens Open Sewer, and boxing events that legitimized men beating on women. She did write a PhD thesis entitled Deterritorializing Gender in Sydney's Breakdancing Scene, a B-girl's experience in B-boying. This thesis critically interrogates how masculinist practices of breakdancing offers a site for the transgression of gender norms, drawing on my own experiences as a female within the male-dominated breakdancing scene in Sydney, first as a spectator, then as an active crew member. This thesis questions why so few female participants engage in this creative space and how breakdancing might be the space to displace and deterritorialize gender. Maybe you got deterritorialized by the boys because you sucked. But a more depressing conclusion would be that Ms. Gunn has received government funding to study breakdancing in Australia and was reserved a space on the Olympic team not because she could breakdance, which she evidently, comically, cannot, but because she can churn out academic-sounding word salad. To paraphrase George Bernard Shaw, those who can do, those who can't teach, those who can't teach get government handouts. Here in the Great White North, where snow will be banned for being racist, plucky Rebel News reported, senior citizen has accounts terminated by Scotiabank, apparently for criticizing DEI policy. Evidently, she asked someone at her branch why the LGBT etc. were included in the bank's DEI policies, but not seniors. Well, that sent shockwaves throughout one of Canada's biggest banks, with branches all over the world. The question posed by this elderly person who had banked with Scotia for more than 20 years crippled their computer systems, tellers were collapsing en masse, and bank managers stopped selling retirement savings plans because they were so distressed. Grief counselors were airlifted to the surrounding branches. With the bank teetering on financial collapse, it had no other choice but to terminate Jane Doe's account. Just when no one thought that Boeing could screw up worse than with their 737 MAX airline fiasco with the loose doors, along comes their Boeing Starliner, massively delayed and $1.6 billion in the hole. This leaky pile of crap has stranded its two astronauts at the International Space Station. It could be junk and stuck at the ISS permanently. NASA has lost confidence in the safety of the Starliner and won't allow astronauts to return on it. But Boeing's software does not provide for automated undocking. They need a human inside of the Starliner to undock it. No problem, you say. Just spacewalk back to the space station, but the ports on the Starliner are too small to let an astronaut in a bulky spacesuit to get out. That was forward thinking. Seriously, there isn't an undocking iPhone app available? We wouldn't let Boeing design adult diapers at this rate. Boeing wants to upload new software, but NASA is worried it will fail and then brick Starliner, blocking one of the only 2 docking ports permanently. The 2 astronauts were only supposed to be on the space station for 8 days for this Starliner test flight. They have now been there since June 6th. The most likely plan is for them to return in February 2025, probably aboard a SpaceX Dragon Crew capsule. Elon to the rescue. We have some audio from the head of the Starliner program.
Don't you dare let those SpaceX fuckers bring our crew back!
Well, that was unexpected. Hopefully, NASA can get its money back, as Starliner costs $90 million per seat, whereas Dragon Crew capsule costs only $55 million. That's a lot of space DoorDash. This is Appalling News, and that's the way it is.